On this episode, I give you one of my favorite credit card paying down strategies.
Joining us this morning is Edward Sanchez, president of Money Sharp.
Hey everybody, this is Edward Sanchez. Welcome back to the Money Sharp Show. We are now on episode 14. Okay, so I'm going to share with you what I call is the rule of 4%. This is my favorite. It's my second favorite, okay, strategy to paying down your credit card debt. Now, obviously the rule is don't carry any credit card debt. How many of you are carrying credit card debt? Even though we know you're not supposed to carry the balance, okay? But if you are, I'm going to give you a strategy to take something that seems very overwhelming. It's very simple. Let's start applying it right now. What is this 4%? I'm going to give you a brief history lesson. So prior to 1982, in the United States, the average credit card minimum payment was, not the average credit card minimum payment, the minimum payment on a credit card was 5% of your balance. So what does that mean? That means that if you had a $100 balance on your credit card, your minimum payment was $5, okay? If you had a $1,000 credit card balance, your minimum payment was $50. Well, credit cards being what they are, wanted more people to use their credit cards. They said, well, how do we get people to borrow more money? We want to be more profitable. We want people to use this, right? If you sell hot dogs, you want more people to buy your hot dogs. So they had economists. They have a lot of bright guys over there and bright men and women, and they figured out that people were tied to their minimum monthly payment. People weren't borrowing more because I already owed $1,000. I can't afford to pay more than $50 a month. So I actually, even though I have more available credit, I'm not borrowing more because I'm tied to that $50 a month payment. Make sense? Sure. So they said, you know what? We can change the minimum payment from 5% and we can take it down. Now, as recent as 2008, the minimum payment on a credit card was 2%. The average minimum payment on a credit card. And what Congress was able to figure out through a lot of complaining is that when you're paying 2% of your balance, again, a $1,000 balance on a credit card, you're setting 2%, it's a $20 monthly payment. So they realized that if you're paying 2%, it's taking you greater than 25 years. In fact, 27 years or longer to pay off a balance as low as just $1,000. All right? So what does that mean? When the credit card company lowered your minimum payment from $50, it's $50 in April, it's $50 in May, it's $50 in June, and then you get to July and the same balance on your credit card, roughly $1,000, goes from $50 to $20, they saw that the consumer went and borrowed more. So the win was now they've got people using credit even more. So it's a win for them. Second thing is when they lowered the monthly payment, you actually paid the balance off over a longer period of time, which gained them more interest. So it was a double win for them, okay? So as long as you understand this and you know how they're working and how this is happening, then you know that you want to get back to, let's go back to 2008. Congress pushed and they forced the credit card industry to take minimum payments from that 2% average to 4%. So it's amazing how prior to 1982, it was 5%, and it took us greater than 20 years to go from 5% to 4%. That's our efficient government working for you and me, right? So now we're at 4%. If you're paying 4% of your credit card balance every month, you're going to pay off your credit card in 3 years or less. So even though credit card interest rates are high, they can be 9%, they can be 14%, 19%, 29%, 33%. Even though it seems like an astronomical number, that debt should not be carried over from 1 month to the next, number one. If it is, number two, it shouldn't be longer than 3 years, so long as you're paying back 4%. So how do we calculate this out? You're going to grab your credit card statement, right? And on it, it's going to have your minimum payment, and it's going to have the balance. So you're going to take your calculator, you open up your phone, you're going to take the balance on your credit card, and you're going to multiply the balance by 0.04. That's going to give you a monthly payment that I guarantee you for 98% of you is going to be higher than the minimum payment that it says on your statement. Okay? Now your statement, your minimum payment may go from $71 to 83. So it's not going to be this astronomical leap. But the difference is that you weren't paying 4% before. If you are paying 4% now, that incremental jump is going to ensure you the ability to pay off that credit card in 3 years or less. So if you're like the average American that has balances on 3 credit cards or more, okay, and you're trying to find a way to get out of this because you're making payments with no progress, well, I wonder why. Because you're paying so slowly on the credit cards. And by the way, what happens on a credit card balance, your minimum payment, when you send in a payment the next month, your payment actually goes down because the balance goes down. So it trails. So as your balance goes down, the minimum payment goes down. And that's how the banks want you to do it. If you owed me money, I'd want you to pay me back as quickly as possible. I wouldn't say, hey, next month send me less, would I? But the banks do this because they know that it generates interest for them. And I'm not here to paint the banks as bad people because they're not people. Banks make money and they're good at it. So these are tools. Use the tool, don't become the tool. All right? So 4% is what you're going to pay. So take the balance, multiply by 0.04. That's your new minimum payment. Do that across the board on all of your credit cards, and I guarantee you're going to have much improved success. You're going to be able to pay down your credit cards much faster. Leave me the comments below. Let me know if you're already doing this or something better. You're sending them 5% or greater. All right? Give me your questions so I can know what to put in the next video. For now, I'd like to thank Dr. Wayne Dyer. God bless your soul. Anthony Robbins and Gary Vaynerchuk. Guys, I'll see you next episode.